Have you ever walked away from a conversation wishing you had said less or nothing at all? In a world that never stops talking, silence has become a rare and powerful virtue. We're surrounded by noise, opinions, arguments, constant reactions. But the Stoics knew something we often forget. The most commanding voice in the room is sometimes the one that chooses not to speak. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "You always own the option of having no opinion." That wasn't indifference, it was mastery. Silence, when chosen with wisdom, is not weakness. It's strength under control, a form of resistance, a way to rise above chaos without adding to it. But when is silence more than just golden? When does it become necessary? Today, we'll explore 9 moments in life when silence isn't just wise, it's transformational. Moments when keeping your mouth shut could protect your peace, sharpen your judgment, and earn you quiet respect. If any part of you is tired of reacting and ready to respond with intention, this journey is for you. Take a breath, settle in, and let's begin. Number 1. When being criticized unfairly. Have you ever been hit with a comment so off base, so wildly unfair, that your whole body tensed up? Maybe a colleague blamed you for a failed project you barely touched, or a friend twisted your words and painted you as the villain in a story that never happened. It stings because it feels unjust. And your first instinct? To fight back, to defend, to correct the record. But what if those very moments, the ones that make your blood boil, are actually the perfect training ground for strength? The Stoics believed that external insults are powerless unless we give them permission to affect us. As Emperor Hadrian once wrote, "It is not the words of others that harm us, but our interpretation of them." The insult doesn't wound you, your reaction does. And that's within your control. Imagine you're at a family dinner. Out of nowhere, your uncle, a self-proclaimed financial guru, remarks, "I'm honestly surprised you're still getting by with your spending habits." You could list every smart decision you've made, bring up your savings account, maybe even throw in the time he lost money on a bad investment. But a Stoic would choose a different path. They would pause, breathe, and understand. This is not about truth. It's about projection. His comment says more about his own insecurities than your financial reality. Seneca, another great Stoic thinker, taught that criticism, especially the unfair kind, is a mirror. Sometimes it reflects more of the speaker than the target. But even in the worst of insults, there may be a sliver of insight. Could it be time to revisit your budget? Adjust your habits? If so, use the criticism, not because it was fair, but because you are wise enough to grow from anything. And then let silence do the rest. Not every attack deserves a response. Sometimes the most powerful move is none at all, like a fighter who never throws a punch, just stands still while the other tires themselves out. Your silence exposes their noise. So next time you're unfairly criticized, ask yourself, is this really about me? Is there something to learn? And what will silence say that words cannot? Let your calm be your rebuttal. Let your composure be your legacy. Number 2, stay silent in the presence of boasting. There's a particular kind of noise that tests our ego, not conflict, not insult, but boasting. You've felt it. Someone in the room won't stop talking about their achievements, their success, their brilliance. Maybe it's a colleague flaunting a promotion, or a friend who suddenly turned every conversation into a TED talk about their grind. You feel the pull, the urge to counter, to prove that you're just as accomplished, if not more. But here's where Stoicism steps in. The Stoics teach that real confidence has nothing to prove. Marcus Aurelius put it simply, "Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one." In other words, don't get drawn into the contest. Let your actions speak, not your words. Imagine this. You're at a dinner and one guest, let's call him Victor, is in full performance mode. He's recounting his recent real estate deal, his meditation streak, and how he now runs 5 miles before sunrise. You consider jumping in with your own quiet wins, but you don't. Instead, you listen. You stay silent, not because you're impressed, but because you don't need validation. That silence, rooted in self-assurance, is what sets you apart. It's not passivity, it's poise. Seneca reminds us, it is a great thing to know the season for speech and the season for silence. In moments of empty boasting, silence becomes your strength. It shows you're not measuring yourself by someone else's yardstick. You're on your own path, calm, focused, steady. Epictetus took it even further. If you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid. Why? Because when you stop needing to be seen, you begin to truly grow. So, next time you're surrounded by self-congratulation, don't compete, don't compare. Just listen, smile. Let others reveal their hunger for attention while you remain grounded in your own quiet confidence. Because sometimes the most powerful presence in the room is the one that says nothing and still commands respect. Number 3. When dealing with anger. Anger is like a sudden storm. It hits fast, blinds us, and leaves behind regret in its wake. 1 minute you're calm, the next you're on fire. Your heart races, your thoughts spin, and reason disappears. And yet, the truth is simple. Anger only has as much power as we allow it to have. The Stoics never said we should suppress anger. They taught us to understand it, to master it. Because real strength isn't about never feeling anger. It's about not letting anger make decisions for you. Imagine this. You're exhausted, standing in line at the grocery store. Finally, it's your turn when someone boldly cuts in front of you. No apology, no glance, just blatant disrespect. Your fists clench. Your mind starts scripting the perfect comeback. But then, you pause. That pause is everything. In that silence, you've done what most people can't. You've chosen mastery over reaction. As Emperor Antoninus Pius once advised, let not your mind run on what you lack as much as on what you have already. In this case, you have the power to choose peace. Anger feels like defense, but more often it's destruction. A sharp retort at a coworker might cost you trust. Yelling at a loved one might cause wounds that linger. The Stoics understood this well. They believed the consequences of anger are nearly always worse than its cause. That doesn't mean you become passive or let people disrespect you. It means you learn to respond with intention, not impulse. And when something truly needs to be addressed, you handle it with clarity, not rage. The Stoic philosopher Musonius Rufus taught that most anger comes not from events themselves, but from our expectations. We expect fairness, kindness, order. When life doesn't meet those ideals, frustration follows. But if you shift your perspective, if you stop expecting the world to act as you wish, you begin to regain control. Silence in the heat of anger isn't weakness, it's strategy. It buys you time to think, to breathe, to redirect that energy into something that serves you. Anger, when transformed, can fuel progress. But when left unchecked, it burns everything, including you. So next time fury rises, choose silence. Let it be the space where your better self steps in. Number 4. Stay silent in the face of false rumors. Rumors are like smoke. They drift fast, cloud judgment, and often leave a stain long after the fire dies down. One person whispers, another embellishes, and soon you're the subject of a story that bears little resemblance to truth. The urge to respond is immediate, to defend, to correct, to make it stop. But here's the Stoic response: don't. Because sometimes silence is stronger than any speech. When people spread lies or twist your words, your first instinct might be to chase every rumor down, to explain, to plead your case. But in doing so, you can end up fueling the very thing you're trying to extinguish. As Seneca wisely said, time discovers truth. And truth, unlike gossip, needs no defense. It only needs patience. Silence in the midst of slander is not weakness. It's discipline. It's choosing not to dignify falsehoods with your energy. Marcus Aurelius reminds us, you have power over your mind, not outside events. The opinions of others, beyond your control, but your response, entirely yours. Imagine you're at work, and suddenly there's talk that you're the reason a project failed. You know it's untrue. You want to clear your name, send that email, confront the source. But you don't. Instead, you stay composed. You let your actions speak. You let time do its work. And what happens? The rumor fades. The truth, slow but steady, rises to the surface. And people begin to see not just the facts, but your poise under pressure. That's the power of Stoic silence. It's not about ignoring injustice. It's about refusing to let lies pull you into a game you didn't ask to play. You stay focused on what you can control, your work, your values, your integrity. Rumors may circle, but character stands still. So the next time false words fly around you, resist the urge to react. Say nothing. Stand firm. And remember, those who know you won't be swayed by whispers, and those who are swayed were never worth convincing. Number 5. How to deal with loss. Loss has a way of stopping time. The world moves on, traffic flows, conversations carry on, but inside, everything is still. There's a silence that follows, not empty, but heavy. It fills the spaces where laughter used to live, lingers in memories that now echo with absence. In that silence, many try to escape through distraction, noise, or numbing the pain. But Stoicism offers a different way. It doesn't ask us to deny grief, but to face it, to transform it from something that breaks us into something that builds us. When we lose someone dear, a job we loved, or a dream we held close, our instinct is resistance. We replay the past, wrestle with what-ifs, and try to bargain with reality. But as Epictetus reminds us, it's not things that disturb us, but our judgments about them. We can't undo what has happened, but we can choose how we respond. Seneca once said, "The day we fear as our last is but the birthday of eternity." That perspective reframes loss, not as the end, but as a transition. Pain is natural, but so is growth. Silence in the face of loss isn't a void, it's a vessel, a space to reflect, to feel, to heal. Grief is not a weakness, it's the cost of deep connection. The pain we feel is a reflection of how much something mattered, and that meaning doesn't vanish, it evolves. The Stoics believed that every challenge, no matter how painful, is a chance to return to what matters most: virtue, resilience, and gratitude. Even in sorrow, we can find strength. We can honor what we've lost by choosing to live fully, by appreciating what remains, whether it's the support of others, the lessons learned, or the strength we've discovered within ourselves. Loss will visit all of us, but how we meet it, That defines who we become. So when grief comes, don't rush to silence it. Sit with it. Breathe through it. Let it carve depth into your soul. And when you're ready, carry what you've lost, not as a burden, but as part of your journey forward. Number 6. Navigating ignorance with Stoic grace. We've all met them, people so convinced of their own knowledge, yet everything they say reveals how little they truly understand. It could be a colleague confidently giving wrong instructions, or an online commenter arguing with passion, but no facts. It's both amusing and frustrating. But in these moments, the Stoic doesn't lose patience. They practice discipline. Rather than reacting with irritation, Stoicism invites us to see ignorance not as a threat, but as an opportunity to strengthen our own character. Consider the example of Socrates, not a Stoic himself, but deeply admired by the Stoics. He never shouted, never belittled. He asked questions, simple, piercing questions that gently unraveled false certainty. His method wasn't to conquer, but to reveal, to let others see the cracks in their own logic without ever raising his voice. Now imagine applying that in your own life. When someone boldly insists on something incorrect, your goal isn't to win the debate. Ask instead, what makes you certain? Or, have you considered a different angle? These questions aren't confrontational, they're invitations to think deeper. And often, that's more effective than any rebuttal. But what if they don't listen? What if they double down? That's where silence becomes your greatest tool. Marcus Aurelius reminds us, you have power over your mind, not outside events. You don't need to correct everyone. You don't need to spend your energy on those unwilling to receive it. Think of the astronomer Aristarchus, who suggested the Earth moved around the Sun centuries before Galileo. He was ignored, even mocked. But he didn't waste his life arguing. He simply left the truth where it stood. Because truth, like virtue, doesn't need to shout. In practicing silence, you preserve your energy. You remain anchored. You choose peace over provocation. And that calm presence, unshaken by noise, is what sets you apart. So next time you're faced with confident ignorance, pause, ask a question, or stay silent, or simply walk away. Because real wisdom isn't about proving others wrong, it's about mastering yourself. Number 7. How to deal with rumors. There comes a moment in life when you realize you're the subject of whispers. Maybe it began as a small misunderstanding, a passing comment taken the wrong way. But before long, the story takes on a life of its own, passed from mouth to mouth. Each retelling adds a new layer, until fiction begins to masquerade as truth. It's maddening. Your first instinct is to chase the rumor, confront the storytellers, clear your name. But pause. Has that ever truly worked? Take the story of Elias, a devoted mentor who spent years guiding underprivileged youth toward better futures. He stayed late, funded workshops out of pocket, gave his heart to the mission. But one student, angry over a failing grade, spread whispers that Elias was biased. The rumor spread. Trust began to waver. His reputation faltered. Elias could have fought back, but he didn't. Instead, he let his work speak. He kept mentoring, kept showing up. He chose not to battle shadows. And slowly, the truth emerged. Parents saw progress. Students spoke up. Colleagues remembered his consistency. And the whisper? It died, like all noise without an audience. This isn't just Elias's story. It's a reminder to you. How often have you let someone's words hijack your peace, pull you into battles that drain your spirit? Marcus Aurelius said, "The best revenge is to be unlike him who did the injury." The Stoics knew that silence, when chosen with intention, is not weakness, it's power. Epictetus taught that if a rumor is true, correct yourself. If it's false, why be disturbed? It's human to want to defend yourself, but Stoicism invites a higher path. When you choose not to respond, you're saying, I know who I am. I don't owe clarity to those committed to misunderstanding me. So what can you do? First, master your emotions. Reacting in anger gives life to lies. Breathe. Reflect. Ask yourself, is this even worth your energy? Second, stay the course. Let your actions build your legacy, not your explanations. Because in the end, it's not the rumor that defines you, it's your response to it. Let your silence echo louder than their noise. Keep walking, with dignity, with purpose. Number 8. When confronted with injustice. Life isn't fair, and the Stoics never pretended otherwise. You can be honest, diligent and kind, yet still be overlooked, betrayed, or falsely judged. And when injustice strikes, the natural instinct is to push back, to defend yourself, to demand what you deserve. But the question is, will that reaction serve you or cost you your peace? Picture this. Arman, a rising researcher, dedicates a year to developing a groundbreaking idea. At the unveiling, his supervisor takes full credit. His name is left off the project. The rage is real. The urge to speak out is strong. But Arman doesn't explode. He doesn't retaliate. He continues doing what he does best. Creating, building, leading with quiet excellence. Seneca once said, "A gem cannot be polished without friction, nor a man perfected without trials. Injustice is friction. How you handle it, that's your refinement." Stoicism isn't about accepting mistreatment. It's about choosing your response with wisdom. Acting out of anger often makes you appear emotional, even when you're right. But responding with calm and consistency builds a different kind of power, one that doesn't need to shout to be heard. The Stoics remind us that we can't control outcomes, only our effort, our integrity, and our mindset. And when that becomes your focus, you stop giving injustice power over you. This doesn't mean turning a blind eye to what's wrong. It means playing the long game, staying sharp, letting your results speak louder than your resentment. So next time you're dealt an unfair hand, take a breath, pause, then ask, what response would honor my character, not just my emotions? Because the quiet strength of restraint often leaves the deepest impression, and no one can take that away from you. Number 9. How to handle insults with Stoic wisdom. There's a unique kind of strength that reveals itself in silence. Not the silence of fear or avoidance, but the intentional, grounded stillness that refuses to be shaken by provocation. The Stoics understood this well. They believed that insults only carry weight if we choose to carry them. Epictetus once said, "If someone provokes you, it's because your mind is complicit in the provocation." At first it may sound harsh, almost blaming. But look deeper, and you'll find freedom in that idea. Because it means you have a choice. You don't have to hand over your peace every time someone throws a careless word your way. Think about it. How many times have you let a rude comment, a snide remark, or a passive-aggressive jab ruin your entire day? We replay the insult over and over, trying to craft the perfect comeback long after the moment has passed. But the Stoic doesn't waste energy that way. The Stoic steps back, breathes, and lets the moment go. Take the example of Clara, a community leader known for her calm demeanor. Over the years, she's been unfairly criticized in public meetings, misquoted in local media, and targeted by people who simply didn't like her message. She could have fought back. She could have turned every insult into a battle, but she didn't. Instead, she focused on her mission. She let her work speak louder than any defense. And over time, even her harshest critics had to admit there was wisdom in her silence. This is what real power looks like. When you refuse to react, you deny the aggressor their victory. You take control of the only thing that's truly yours, your response. Eleanor Roosevelt, who faced relentless criticism throughout her public life, once said, "No one can make you feel inferior without your consent." That's Stoicism in action. Not weakness, not retreat, but quiet, unshakable self-respect. And this principle isn't just for philosophers or public figures, it's for you. When was the last time someone's words got under your skin? A co-worker's sarcasm? A family member's judgment? A stranger's online comment? Ask yourself, did reacting help or did it make things worse? Next time, try this instead. Breathe. Let the words pass through you like wind through an open window. You don't have to defend yourself. You don't have to explain. You don't even have to respond. Because silence, when rooted in confidence, becomes its own statement. In a world where everyone is shouting, trying to prove, to argue, to win, the one who remains calm will always stand out. Stoic silence isn't passive. It's powerful. It says, I know who I am, and I don't need your approval to validate it. So here we are, at the end of our journey through the 9 moments where silence isn't just golden, it's transformational. If there's one thing we've learned from the Stoics, from Epictetus, Seneca, and Marcus Aurelius, it's this. Wisdom isn't about having the last word. It's about knowing when to say nothing at all. Imagine how different your life could be if, instead of arguing with fools, you just smiled and let them tire themselves out. If, instead of feeding negativity, you let it roll off like rain on stone. Feels powerful, doesn't it? Because it is. So here's a quiet challenge. The next time someone tests your peace, pause. Don't react. Just breathe, stay grounded, and rise above it. When you feel that shift, that calm strength, come back and comment, Stoic calm. If this journey into Stoic silence spoke to you, feel free to like, share, or subscribe. It's a small act, but it helps bring more wisdom to those who need it. You're stronger than you think, and this is only the beginning. Stay steady, and I'll see you in the next reflection.